All right, so this is your planning sheet. So you would be dot pointing in this planning sheet. It's kind of like a bit of a map or a skeleton for what your essay should look like. So we all know that at the very beginning, you need to start with an opening background statement that introduces the novel. So you've got your title, you've got the author, the date that it was published. You would also have a sentence in there talking about the context, so that the novel is set to begin with in Afghanistan under Taliban rule in the 1990s, and it's about the journey of Martab and her family as they escaped for safety. You would then put your thesis statement in, which is your one statement, one sentence saying what you believe. So, yes, the characters have been marginalized, or no, they haven't, and that would be a statement sentence. Then you would put your essay map in there. Your essay map previews what your two body paragraphs are going to be about. So your first body paragraph might be about marginalization in Afghanistan and on the journey. Your sentence might be Mahtab and her family experience marginalization in Afghanistan and on the journey through persecution of the Taliban. Furthermore, they also experience marginalization when they get to Australia and are placed in a detention centre. If that was your essay map, I would expect that you would have one body paragraph about how they're marginalised in Australia, on their journey and in Afghanistan, and then the next body paragraph about how they're marginalised in Australia. But that is up to you, because it depends on what your body paragraphs are about, and you needed to figure that out from the previous video. So, looking at body paragraphs and how to actually dot point what goes in there. So all you need to do in this section is just dot point what you're going to say before you write it. And I'll show you an example. So the point sentence, that's your topic sentence. So I've just written up the top what I'm actually going to speak about. So I'm going to cover in my body paragraph Afghanistan and the journey. And the things I'm going to talk about are the Taliban's treatment of people and the fear they experience on their journey. So that's the whole guts of what my paragraph's going to be about. Okay, that's just a heading for myself, so I know what's going to be in there. Now, my topic sentence, this one here, you can pre-write it in your planning sheet if you want, or you can just dot point what you're going to do. But I've pre-written one. So Martab and her family left Afghanistan because of the Taliban, and they experienced marginalization both in their home country and on their journey. Right, so I've said that, then I should know that my body paragraph is going to be about that. Now, when I elaborate, this is where I'm giving some more detail. I'm telling my reader more, okay? So I've just dot pointed here some of the things that I'm going to talk about. And in my elaboration, I might have 2 to 3 sentences, okay? Just telling what I know about their treatment in Afghanistan. Then I would put in a quote, okay? And I would introduce the quote as well. I might say, for example, the the danger that the characters experience is evident when Martab says men in black turbans, whips, beatings, the knock on the door, etc. Then I would discuss it more. Okay, so I would talk about why they would fear for their safety when this is what happens in their community. If I wanted to, I could put some more evidence in there, because remember, this is an extended peel paragraph. So I'd expect to have 2 pieces of evidence, unless you've got one really big one, which I really hope you would try to avoid, because putting in large chunks of evidence is, it means that you've got less room to write what you actually think. More interested in what you think, using the evidence to back you up rather than the other way around. So I might also put in there, night after night, the whispering and the weeping. Martab describes here what it was like living in her home. The adults were clearly scared because they were whispering, and they're weeping, which shows that they're fearful and feeling helpless about what's happening in their country. So I would be elaborating more there. Okay. Now, when I get to the link statement, the link is just linking it back to what my body paragraph is about. So I'm just reinforcing my point. So I might say something like that. It is clear that Martab and her family experienced a lot of hardships and challenges that were marginalizing, or something of the like. You are linking it back to your point. Okay. So you would dot point out. Okay, and it does actually tell you on the side here what you need to do. So it's a good idea if you actually read it. It'll tell you what to do. You would then do that for your second body paragraph. Now, Because I didn't want to go on to 3 pages, it's the second body paragraph planning starts here. So, and it continues here, and it's exactly the same as the first one. So all you need to do is dot point it the exact same way. Then you get to your conclusion. Now, your conclusion is where you restate your thesis. So remember, your thesis is your statement of belief. It is one sentence saying what you believe, and you're reinforcing it. You're reviewing your key points. So you should probably have a sentence or two just reminding your reader what your points were, and a concluding sentence relating it back to whether or not the book could be read as an example of understanding challenges and hardships faced by marginalized groups. You might even relate it back to the current context in which we live, where the Taliban has taken over Afghanistan again, and why books like these are really important to read so we can understand the experience of other people. Now, remember that an essay is in third person. There are no phrases like in my opinion or I think. There is no first person. So no I, me, my, we, our. Okay, only third. Don't use persuasive language. Okay, it's not a persuasive essay, it's analytical. Analytical means that you are looking at the evidence and you are analyzing it. You're pulling it apart. You're explaining what it means here and what it tells you and how it backs up your points. Make sure your language is formal and sophisticated. So you're using really good vocabulary. You're not writing things like bad and good and basic words like that. Make sure your sentence structure makes sense. Every sentence should be complete on its own and not a run-on sentence. Make sure you check your punctuation and your spelling. You use capital letters for proper nouns and names of people and places. You italicize the title of the book every time you use it. Now, don't italicize the name of the character. When you write, Marta went and did this, you would only do it when it's the title. Also, make sure that you have put a reference in as well after each quote. So you would say the surname, so Gleason, 2008, and then what page number. If you just put the page number, that's acceptable because we're reading just the one book. But usually if you get into the habit of doing it the other way, it's better. Now, 1 to 2 quotes in each body paragraph, not in the conclusion or in the introduction. It's really important that you stick to that. If you have 3 quotes, I would expect that they are only very short one sentence quotes. So for example, stranger in a strange land, this is not my place. That is enough, okay? That is a small quote, and I would expect that you'd be elaborating and discussing how that demonstrates marginalisation. I hope that that has helped you to be able to figure out how to fill in your planning sheet, and you can get started whenever you're ready.